There we go. All right, we're on. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my spiritual education podcast. I'm here with my friend Yeshe, a wonderful soul, just as myself, I guess is the right language. My name's Dr. Joseph H. Vertino. I am a professional spiritual guide. I'm also an author, and a musician and a Reiki master healer in the tradition known as Usui, which is named after Dr. Mikao Usui, who is the founder and grounding, I guess, so to speak, of the tradition of Reiki, which is the optimum healing modality, which I do give sessions in and teach. The classes my second book is called The Reiki Bible, A Guide to Reiki Living. I highly encourage you to check it out on Amazon.com under Joseph H. Vertino. If you take away the doctor part and the name and type in all the rest of it, Joseph H. Vertino, on Amazon, Amazon.com, you'll get all 4 of my books, including The Reform of the Education System. So thank you. And I teach one-on-one, looking for work teaching in groups. Thank you, as a spiritual guide. And I teach meditation too. So our topic today is realizing your divinity within. So the way that I usually start this is semantically. Semantics is the definitions of words, the logical meanings of words. This one's pretty, I don't want to do that I guess I'll do that real quick before I let Yeshe start. So I'll just finish up my introduction with that. So we realize something. Now we could say in context of this, what that means is the full title is Realizing Your Personal Divinity Within. So in context, the correct interpretation or use of the word realize is to bring into reality. So it means you bringing into reality your own divinity, and then within, because it's only you and can't be any other way, right? So to realize, to bring it into reality, right? Okay, so that's our topic. So we have, hopefully I'm aiming for hopefully an hour, and we're at 2.5 minutes right now. So hopefully we can get to a solid hour. And so go ahead, my guest.
Hi, I'm Yeshe, and I have a little over 50 years on finding my purpose. And there's a lot to that, and I won't go into that right now, but recently I realized my divinity and realized that everyone else has that too within them. I think that when I first loved myself, the first time that I loved myself, my world changed. And I think loving yourself is the key. And talking to your higher self in meditation, ask a question. The answers will come. It's all within you. The answers aren't out here. They're all in here, in your heart. Well, that's, my story of realization. So my life really did change. My energy changed. I had been depressed for 10 years, and all of a sudden it all changed. So love yourself.
Yes.
Feel your heart. Talk from there. Feel the God or goddess that is within you. Once you see that you are divine, you are a divine creation on this earth to be yourself and in love. really working hard on finding the God in everybody, but it's coming along just fine. You know, and I see the God or goddess within you, and only hope that you allow others to see it. You're precious. You're a gift. You're here on the earth to live, breathe, and be. And I've said since I was 7 years old that I was love. And so I searched for it. I began my search then, you know. It's been a long trip.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, I would say, oh, we've got an echo on your end, but hopefully that doesn't stay there. Well, I would say, yes, I mean, realizing, and I think it's very important for people to, I guess I'll give a few reasons, realizing, focusing on the personal truth of it, that it's a personal thing. And, you know, and obviously in contemporary society, you know, we have in Christianity, you know, people, the sentence of it's your personal, your personal relationship with Christ, with Jesus, who is Yeshua, the Ascended Master. And in that way, if you understand that, I guess my point of what, based off what you were just saying, my new friend and guest, is that you realizing that it's never not that way. And I guess in that stark, I guess, realization, to use a word, you know, it's basically, I think psychologically, I think in psychological terms of, you know, all kinds of different things that go on, of enmeshment, you know, if it has to do with your family, codependency, and enabling, you know, all kinds of these different things that have to do with interpersonal relations, that are difficulties and adversities. And if we understand that in that acceptance of what I'm saying, that the personal, ultimately and never not personal, quest of realizing your divinity within, in that acceptance of that, you naturally relinquish those unhealthy behavior patterns that would contribute to unnecessary suffering, like enmeshment, codependency. I'm not going to comment on narcissism, but, you know, enabling the things that have to do with other people in that way. And you get to a place in yourself where that realization, you could say, like I guess some people would use the word awakening, but what happens is a shift in your consciousness, kind of.
It is a shift in consciousness.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't run into my walls. I mean, that's what happens if you intend to be on earth as a giver, as a in service. It's tough. It's tough because God will answer you, and He will show you all the places that you need to look at. And it's pretty hard. I got a hard one the other day. I realized that I was like catastrophizing, if that's a word. And it was about my dog and thinking that she was going to die and all kinds of stuff. But I realized that the first place I went was to the worst possible outcome.
Yes.
I really do not want to do that, but I was shown, I think that our lessons, when we run into obstacles, that's where we learn. So acceptance of both good and bad, and just being good to yourself, and giving service has been my goal for a long time. So don't fall asleep, Joe.
Oh, don't worry. I just tilt my head sometimes when I'm listening, like a monkey. That.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, yeah. So it sounds so okay. Now this is a wonderful topic too. Now we're obviously spiritual education is the title of the whole podcast. Now, I guess I could say not bringing anything up into it, but just taking it from there. Spirituality, and we already mentioned Christ, and I think Christ is kind of like the I don't know, the home run hitter of being linked to spirit in that way. And obviously, you know, if we think of Christ as if we think back on Yeshua, and what do we associate with him? I think of him being a master healer. So because of his demeanor, and basically because of his demeanor, generally, just one word, right? And then basically, you know, he's a master healer. And then the reason I'm talking about this is the title. So being spiritual, spirit. So the root of the word spiritual is spirit. And then, so what my point is basically naturally in this podcast, there is healing, right? Because spiritual education, if people are doing that, even if they're beginners, if their intention is true, there's going to naturally be a healing vibration. And I guess my connection with that is, you know, is that what I mentioned earlier of the healing that occurs, the very real life situational, you know, life altering healing, which still counts as healing of this, and I'm using it in the realm of psychology, you know, which is very serious stuff. That the more, if you notice that, the more, instead of you struggling, for example, I'll give a hypothetical example for this one. Instead of you struggling, if there is a teenager, okay, so there's a 15-year-old, 15-year-old woman or boy, teenager, and since they've had a difficult time ever since about 2 years, and their parents are at a place where they are, or their parents, yes, are at a place where for some reason something came into their parents' experience, kind of akin to a demon, and ever since this child's been 13 years old, so about the age of puberty or whatever that is, their parents have become confused about being guiding lights to their child. And basically what's going on is that childhood was fine up to 2 years ago. And then basically now, unbeknownst to this person who's 15, they're getting to a point in their life where they're starting to take on pain that is going to end up having to be dealt with because it's going to stay in there. So it's getting to that point because of the parents falling down, so to speak, as parental figures with their child, and it's obviously not the fault of the 15-year-old boy or male or female in this hypothetical example. Now, the advice I have for this 15-year-old is, if this situation is going on, the psychologist would probably pretty easily use the word cope for this situation, which isn't wrong. You know, I'll say that for sure. But putting more words on it, what it is my advice in context of realizing your divinity within is allowing yourself to take your focus and have it be knowing that it's always yours, that no one can ever take it from you. And then in that understanding, allowing yourself to do your best to allow relaxation, to be like kind of
joyful, happy. Make yourself happy. Wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to be happy today, and the universe will respond to you. I truly, truly believe that the universe has responded to me through my heart and through my higher self. For me, I honor and respect all religions. My goal at this time is to bring out my Christ energy, and that's working. That's working for me. I have guides, and they're showing me the way. All I have to do is ask. All you have to do is ask. And the universe wants to make those things for you, but you have to intend to be the best person that you can be.
Yes.
It always has to feel joyful or make you happy. And giving will make you happy, or it has me. I can't say for everybody, but for me, being in service is the joy of my life. And I try being joyful all the time. And I cry my eyes out, and I get pissed off sometimes. And, it's not like all of a sudden you're gonna be this Christ or master. It's just a constant intending to be the best person that you can be, and honoring yourself for doing and being that, and understanding that it comes from within you, comes from within me, my heart. Look into someone's eyes and speak from your heart. You'll find something that if you've never experienced. I went to China and was kind of teaching this kind of stuff, and Chinese people don't look eye to eye. But I was in an exercise with a lot of the women, and tears would come when we'd look in each other's eyes, and they'd say, I've never even looked in my husband's eyes, because that's how it is in China. It was a long time ago, and I was in, I had the guys in the black suits following me around. But there, I traveled all over. I went to all the acupuncture schools, schools for the deaf, schools for the blind. It was amazing. They have amazing programs. They have art programs for blind. They teach the blind how to use their hands without being able to see it. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. There's such a reverence in people in the East. I have great friends in India, and there's a reverence there for other people that is much more evolved. And I think we're at a time where evolution is pretty important. So, and we're on the edge, of creating a fantastic, beautiful world. And I know it doesn't look that way right now, but it will. I firmly believe that it will.
Yeah.
That comes from, my higher self, my heart, my, and I don't preach that anybody else go the same way I went. It's all your thing. Believe in yourself. Know that you can do it. I don't know what else.
Well, yeah. Okay. So yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that for sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess to finish up the thing that I was saying with that, and it's not at odds with what you're saying at all, which I think if you think about the nature of Christ, and in that way, if we understand that the nature of Christ pertains, meaning that it abides, it pertains, the abiding of it, it has to do with your choice making. Pertains, it just does. And then basically we understand that I'm speaking about everything, so to speak, right?
Right.
Pertaining to everybody.
Yeah.
So the option, or I guess to use a word, the nature of Christ, if we're talking about realizing your divinity within, the nature of Christ pertains to everybody. Now, if we understand what I mean by this is in context of the title.
Uh-huh.
What I mean is that you being able to be in the working as in alignment with the nature of God is true as you for every single individual on the planet.
We've all got it.
Yes.
We've all got it.
Yes.
And it's going to be important for everybody to start loving themselves. It's going to be important to change the world. And as you're doing it, you can breathe out love to all those places, and it makes a difference. It's a ripple. The more you love, the more the world changes. Your energy, the world is energy. Everything is energy. So your energy makes a difference. I went through studying a lot of different things. I studied with the Dalai Lama and took a vow. I completed 3 teacher certificates in energetic healing and Tantra. And until I found love for myself, I didn't think I could do it. But finding the love within, the higher self, you can do it.
Well, yeah, for sure. And then, so the example I was giving earlier, talking about the 15-year-old, the 15-year-old who their parents, they raised them fine up until the age of 13. Now they're 15. And it's been 2 years where there's been that it started, where their parents have been at a place where there's been behavior patterns in their parents that are, we could say, obviously not good. And it hasn't gotten to the point where they've been like abuse, but it's been kind of just uncomfortable and for no reason. And, being a 15-year-old, I mean, you should be, 13 to 15-year-olds start to understand reason. So you start to develop your own conclusions about it, and you're like, and it's difficult. So what my recommendation is in context in that way is in context of the title and the situation, realizing your divinity within, is withdrawing your attention from, I could just say X, Y, and Z, but you're withdrawing your attention in particular from your parents or whatever. It's a whatever, right? And you're allowing your attention to be, and then what happens is if you have, there's latent fear in there, obviously fear, that's a natural response because your parents are, behaving badly, and creates a shakiness in the children. So then if to say this child has some alone time, they start to get into being alone, whether any reason besides that it's a natural development. And then they go to the nearby park that's a little bit away, and they sit there, whether there's people there or not, so to speak. They're in that place where they're just like, it's okay to just be here, and then I'm just kind of in this space. And then being in that space, I guess my prayer, and especially obviously in context of my advice consciously in this video, is that what happens is, instead of struggling with the situation with the parents or whatever you have you on the outside kind of thing with other people, and it's not about giving up on the outside world, right? It's not that. You're what you're doing is you're taking your attention, and you're consciously using your intention, your focus, and you're learning to harness the power of your own intention and focus. And then what happens is that you realize you start to get into a kind of like a sense of a rhythm, so to speak. Like if you're part of a band, you cut to catch the beat, and you start to catch on to something that's real, which I call spirit in that way. Which even it's always been there, so to speak. But obviously, we have lives to live and experiences happen, and so you start to develop an understanding. And the understanding is, it takes your personal will. So you, as a 15-year-old, you're going through the individuation process. And so the individuation process is, as we know in psychology again, is, I'm sure some people would say, the most important thing, right? Of like the whole thing, right? So the individual.
I think it's important to teach the babies that they have this within, and teach them to be quiet, and when they have something that's bothering them, to go sit and be quiet and ask yourself, and your heart will give you the answers. And I have 2 grandkids. They are, of course, totally advanced, but that's how I talk to them. It's just allowing them to discover the divinity before they have to go through all the crap. And the kids that are coming into this world right now are so advanced spiritually. You can see, when you see a baby, look into their eyes, and you can see that's the innocence that you want. That's the innocence, to be yourself. And there it is right there. You can look in their eyes and you can tell they've got it. They know it.
Well, yeah. So if you understand that your perspective is the correct perspective in general. So what I mean by that is, even if you don't contextualize it at all and you leave it. So for example, we can certainly get an hour, probably an hour and a half. We're only down 4% from where we were.
Oh, that's good.
You could do an hour and a half if you want to, and we're at a half an hour right now, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But so what I mean by this, if you go to a hospital and you say, hey, I'm an adult and I want to come into the hospital and basically safely look at newborns or some kind of, I'm sure they might be like, we have to kind of ask or something like that, or you have to ask.
I don't know.
If you did do that, which isn't far. I don't see that as an emergency, and that you have to call the cops on the person at all.
Yeah.
But and so if you did that and you go in and you go to where the glass is and you say, they let you say, here, stand here, look at the newborns for a while. There's a water fountain over there. There's a bathroom over there. Just don't go in anybody's rooms, and don't knock on the door unless they're sitting up or awake, or I don't know. Basically, and make sure the person, is whatever. It's fine. But you doing that and looking at the newborns, and what you just mentioned, Yeshe Ma, is basically that you're in a place where you're seeing so in I guess to mention my religion, I'm a Zen Buddhist, and Zen by definition means to see clearly. So seeing clearly, uh, you know, is basically in that way, Zen, and then so you uh, going in context of being outside of meditation, and you're living your life. If you're seeing babies, like the actual babies out, and you're there, and then
Closest thing to God you can get. They haven't been touched yet by us and our behaviors and our input. If you, they're
yeah,
just.
but now if you understand that, the perspective is basically this: is that, like what you said, is that the babies are there, and I guess you could say you, without the babies having to prove anything or do anything in particular, you can recognize the divinity just by it just is.
So clear.
Is now you can set an individual knowing that cognitively, consciously knowing that fact is basically now your own personal relationship with spirit in that way, because what you're recognizing is spirit, then that thing is, for example, if someone maybe they had that a personal religious experience at a hospital or whatever, and you start to recognize it outside of you, and then what happens is that turn inward, and you start to allow your own attention to feast on your person. And then in that, what happens is the natural healing process, because you're coming now back into a place of I want to say earnestness is a good word. And it's not to say anything about the past or the future, but you're in a place in that earnestness and self-discovery, which is exciting and necessary, in order for evolution to occur.
Right. Be here now isn't a joke, being present with whoever you're speaking with or seeing or feeling is living. It's living, it's manifesting what you want in the world. Heart to heart. You can manifest your dreams. They'll come. I have no doubt.
Yes. So let me go back and recapitulate on the other example with the 15-year-old again, to make sure that's crystal clear.
Yeah.
So, for example, if that 15-year-old is in that real life situation, and there's all kinds of there's that they're having that experience, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they're the only person who's having that experience
Exactly.
during their individuation years, which obviously isn't preferable for anybody to be at a place where you're even if you're an introvert, it's naturally going to be an internalized feeling place of feeling without being able to express it in words, and then basically that's the thing. So but if they go and they're spending their time alone, like I said, my thing is, oh beautiful sun, is that you allow the focus, because we are living beings. So there's a reason that intention is something that people who know about evolution and are consciously posting videos and watching videos using the words evolution, progression, and these terms that are based in, I guess, in the collective perspective of benevolence and progression, are very much about manifestation and intention. Attention is a huge.
It's evolution. It's evolution. It's taking a step up, seeing yourself as a higher being, as someone who makes a difference in the world, because you do. Every thought, every intention, every action out into the world comes back. So you want to do the best you can, or I do. I don't know. I can't tell anybody how to go through it. You just do. You intend to be your best person, and all the opportunities will come up, and it will be hard probably, but you go through it, because there's this all day long. I can listen to Indian chants. I can listen to all kinds of beautiful music about rising up. And I listen to my tapes. I listen to my videos. I search. I have books everywhere that I can go to and, find the information that I'm looking for. But it's all about, my life is about spirit. That's it. Finding it, being love. Gotta say, it's a really pleasant way to live.
Well,
you
yes.
deserve it. You deserve it. You
Yes.
deserve to see yourself as a higher being.
Yes. Yes, and that's basically the same point, as the child, the 15-year-old child in the difficult situation on their own, in that way, is all of that, of what you're saying, is the same energy of the teaching, I guess, that I'm giving, that advice of the intention, and knowing that it's super okay to take complete control over your own attention and using it intentionally. So, for example, if they might start to notice, they'll start naturally to fall into a place of concentration. So, for example, they're sitting by the tree, and they'll sit there, and they'll notice them staring at, if there's a squirrel, so the attention naturally goes on the squirrel. And then what you'll notice, if the squirrel stands still for a while, I guess, if God wills it, and the squirrel will stay there, and their attention is on the squirrel. And then what's happening naturally inside of them is they're allowing that concentration to develop and swell. And then in that, there becomes the raising of the frequency, right? And,
right. Yeah.
And then obviously, what happens is, because you're in a place of more heightened consciousness, in that situation, because of grace, obviously, and them, developing their own natural inclination of concentration, and unbeknownst to them, I guess you could say, or not, maybe a spiritual practice. If they go to the place at the park and they say, I'm going to go stare at squirrels, that becomes their spiritual practice. That's what it is.
Yeah, they become one with nature. Like, there's nothing better than being one with nature. I mean, we're one with everything, but to be out in nature or at the ocean or hugging a tree or whatever it is, it's a grounding of everything wonderful. I mean, you feel a part of it. I've noticed that animals are changing, and I feel them. I can go sit. I've had deer come up to me. It's like, it's so great. It's so wonderful in my life. It's what it's about. Being one with everything. knowing that you belong here, that we need you, that we need one another, that we can communicate, that what we put up our boundaries, make your boundaries so that you don't get tired. It all just starts unfolding once you really love yourself and set the intention. It all unfolds for you. You don't have to really do much more except check in with yourself.
Yes. Allowing yourself to I think a big part of it on a mental level. So, for example, because we've been, at least I have for sure, been talking heavily about intention and the attention, which is a very specific, ultimately specific thing. And we talk about focus. I mean, focus is the ultimate specificity. So now, I mean, in that way, if we understand, that's something that's like an activity. Like, for example, if someone was practicing concentration, so if they're sitting and they're letting themselves sit, and they'll notice that, how people say, like, for example, if you notice, there's a difference between if you went and you were just sitting and there was no intention and you're kind of just there. It's kind of like you're almost imitating like a lower life form. So if you're imitating like a tree, does that make sense?
Oh,
so
it does.
The tree is still alive, but
Right.
it doesn't have a mind,
Yeah.
right? And you're alive. So it's like almost like you're imitating a tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now, if you understand that, there's a reason that we're not just that way. And if you understand, I mean, that's a good thing in the sense of a mental recognition prior, which is another psychological thing, I'm sure. I'm just stumbling upon it, so to speak. That if you recognize something that first happened is the mental recognition on a mental plane, and then what happens after that is there's an action based off of your own personal recognition of something, I guess is what I'm saying. But I mean, in that way, it has to do with personal growth, I want to say par excellence, because you're allowing yourself to learn on your own. And yeah.
You also have a time where you let go of all the past and all of the thoughts that have driven you to the things that you really don't want in your life. And so you learn to let go of those things and just be with the now and who you are. Anyway, I'm trying.
Well, yeah, I mean, allowing yourself to be, at that place where you are. The real thing is, and this is a point that I was going to say, and in context of the relief of, because I've been talking a lot about intention and that being an activity that you're, by definition, intention, the whole thing is unescapably thus, which is that there is a goal, so to speak, and there's a you, and then you achieving the said goal, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because it's inescapable by the definition of the word.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Even if it's in meditation, it's still, and that's, we could say, it's the most important intention, of attaining enlightenment.
Yeah. Go for it. Whatever makes you happy. God created us, I think, to be joyful, to have fun. And we've learned war, and we've learned racism, and we've learned all the terrible things in the universe that are going on right now. We've learned about that, and it's just letting go of those things that bring thoughts of negativity, just let them go. I'm not thinking that. No, I'm not gonna go there, you know. It's a finding a goal and an intention is precious movement toward being the best that we can. So you've got a goal. I want to be the best spiritual person that I can be. You know, I want to know what my heart is. I want to know why I am here. You can find out. And it just goes on and on and on. It's a never-ending cycle, but it's beautiful. We can create peace that way. If enough of us send love out, the world will change. If enough of us hold each other's hand along the way, the world will change. If we communicate our deepest heart, our world will change. The ripple, that's all I can come up with. You know, the ripple effect is the energy gets transferred into all energy and taken in by those who know it and need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the other point that I have in context of this, if you understand that the realizing your divinity within, which is basically the spiritual journey, is ever expanding, and that if you understand that in its essence, it's perfect, forever. So
Bad and good, all of it, the lessons. It's all growth.
So if you understand that, and then basically you coming into a place of recognition of that, and you start to develop your own, the correct, aligned perspective, the proper perspective on God. And then as you starts to happen, that trust and that faith becomes a predominant force in yourself. And then as that happens, that's the relief. So for example, the work becomes very clear. For example, the intention, right? So that you wake up in the morning, and there's something called the 5 Reiki principles, which are for everybody, which no matter what, they're for everybody. And obviously they're real. So if you are smart, you will Google it or what have you, and you'll look it up and you'll do it, adopt it in your life for a few minutes in the morning, and you'll go through the 5 Reiki principles. And that's what I recommend.
Gratitude is one of those, isn't it? Gratitude.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Being thankful for what you already have.
Yes.
You know, because it's yours, and you can want more, and you can, create it.
So my point of this is that you have the understanding that when you're truly in alignment, with the only way to be truly in alignment is being authentic. And I don't mean that in terms of anything outside of your own self.
Right. Exactly.
Okay? So it's not about proving your authenticity outside of yourself. That's not what I mean. That becomes a bowling ball in the gutter thing.
Knowing that when you are communicating with people, that you're communicating soul to soul and not mind to mind, or maybe mind to mind, and that's okay. But soul to soul, we are souls walking around, looking for the best, see the best, see the best.
So if you understand that, well, yes, see the best is right. But if you understand that the things that I'm talking about are not just for a few people, and the truth of it, they're based on objective truth. So what I mean by that is that the whole thing is basically that you have the teachings that I'm giving you are for everybody. So it's but if you understand that they're adding to growth, they're based in absolute truth, and obviously in alignment with God's will in that way. And I don't usually, I have to be, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's more important that people understand that we move towards through life with the correct perspective being geared towards growth, right? That's
you gotta, I mean, you have to choose that somewhere along the line if you want to. That is something else, is choice. We are the only beings, I think, that have choice.
choices.
So choices, when it comes to, should I go this way or that, I used to go the wrong way. You can feel the right way. I learned a lot going the wrong way.
Yeah. So okay, so let me finish this point, because I still didn't get to the whole thing, but I've kind of. So there's intention, which we explained in context of the example with the 15-year-old, and then the other one is the relief of trust, of true trust, and I like to say true knowing. So for example, the intention is an activity that takes like some energy, right? So it's almost like you're the working out kind of thing, because that's just the way it is. And then if you understand kind of in that other way, because you can't always be in that place, then if you understand that the intention is about like doing the work, so to speak, and then for the, I guess you could say, other part of the time, you in that place of trust are allowing the natural relinquishing of the of whatever that tension would be in you, right? That's how that works when you're working in alignment, so to speak, universally speaking.
The peace.
Yes.
The peace. Yeah. I mean, it really covers you like a blanket. It's like, it's the peace of mind that everybody wants. It's taking a breath and feeling yourself and getting to know yourself and just moving forward, just following your nose. You will be challenged, and it will be good afterwards. Yeah. I think it's really cool that you can do the mental stuff and I do the heart stuff.
Well, I think the problem with that is if we mentioned earlier psychologically, understand that in order for true growth to happen, you have to be careful with that perspective. So what I mean by that is, I have my own heart chakra and my own mind, and so do you. And it's so the danger. What I'm not trying to be insulting, obviously, and I'm flattered by that. You're a wonderful person to hear that from. But in terms of growth, in that way, I mean, obviously, we have to understand, in order for people to truly be happy, we have to grow. We can't be any other way.
Yeah.
And in order for what I'm saying is in alignment with my Dharma as a spiritual guide, which has to do with, we could say, completion of a being yourself, then I have to go with the correction. So the correction being the inescapability of aloneness. And in that, or aloneness, but really it's the allowing yourself to be completely with you is all that really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Authentic being. And I didn't mean to, like put a separation between us, but it seems that you can verbalize things that in a educational kind of way. And I don't think I do that as well,
Ah.
Well, you gotta have stuff to work on.
Well, so in this way, I mean, I guess this is what I guess I'll say here. Let me check my battery, see where we're at. We can, my battery's going down super slow. So we could probably make it to 2 hours or already an hour if you want to, which I don't really have a problem with. It doesn't bother me.
I don't have a problem with it. No.
I'll just keep streaming it on YouTube, so it'll save on my YouTube live section, and then I don't have to worry at all about it. It'll just automatically.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Or anything.
You'll be one of those people that I listen to all the time.
Sure. Yeah, my content's really, really good. I don't really swear much at all, but I'm very, very. The whole thing is based on I could say I throw the word practical in there just to make sure, right? To like get my bowling buddies in it or my plumber friends, not to use a weird, sound in my voice about it, but people that are hey, if you're just going to say I'm teaching wisdom, Joe, I smoke cigarettes. I go to the bar. I travel. I go to other bars. That's all I do. I go from one town, go to another bar. So if you're going to say just wisdom, I'm passing by. It just says big words, wisdom. What is that going to do for me, Joe? Practical. Wait. Practical, Joe. Okay. Now I know practical. You got to bring your own toolkit if you're going to drive a car. Practical. Well, I got you. That's why we got YouTube. You plug it in.
Yeah.
Right. So that's,
I don't know what I'd do without YouTube. That's where my first, it was like I was so depressed and laying around, and I said, okay, YouTube, show me what I'm supposed to know. And this video came up and it said, get up. You have work to do. You came here for a purpose. Now get up and do it. And I did, from that point forward, I didn't need to know anything else other than I can give it up and allow what's going to happen. It's going to happen anyway, it's all going to happen anyway. So allowing it really makes it a lot easier.
Yes. Okay. So now you're talking, because now you're coming into a place where this is the thing is I am a Buddhist, and I'm very clearly a Buddhist. And I know that in this lifetime. And in context of what you just were, the words you were just using, the reason I'm mentioning Buddhism. And there's a reason that I mentioned Christ earlier, and that to my point is that I'm comfortable as a Buddhist being very, very open, if open is even the right word, about teaching about Yeshua, without
Mhm.
any thought in my mind about Buddhism. But if you understand, so what you just mentioned, you're talking about you're talking about just being rational, right? So if you're here and you're here, you're just in a place of here-ness. So what happens is when you allow yourself to be in that here-ness, what happens is what I think of as like Mother Mary being absorbed in God, but no one else is ever going to be you as you are as a person.
Mhm.
And to me, I want to put a kind of cool slice of some wisdom here. There's something in Buddhism called Mara, and Mara is the root of unnecessary suffering. And there's something called dukkha, which is ignorant thought processes that lead to unnecessary suffering occurring in
Mhm.
real life. So if
Mhm.
you're in that place where you're just being in that here-ness, and if you notice if there's anything, so to speak, in you that comes up in resistance to that, we could call that uh, uh, something that's based on ignorance.
Mhm.
So what I'm talking about is you being a completely working in the place where you're understanding that you having a proper perspective on what it means to truly be a being. So you
Mhm.
here in the here-ness, and then we could say doing it as a spiritual exercise if you want,
Mhm.
not looking for the problems, and you don't, because you don't want to create problems. So
Yeah, they'll come. Don't worry.
you're not anticipate. Don't worry is right. So you're not in the place of anticipatoriness.
Mhm.
And as a master healer, Reiki master Usui, I have to be very open and clear with my words here that if we don't know someone's past, and what I'm saying now is words to protect someone against self-hate. So for example, if I'm saying this use this as a spiritual exercise, being in the here-ness, and you going into self-analytical behavior, we could say unnecessarily, because if you have tremors or you have anxiety, that's something that is don't try to fix that, so to speak, in that way, but rather allow yourself to be in the here-ness, and then that understanding of that energy of whatever, just energy, really it's universal energy like Reiki, because you're just here. And then
Mhm.
I mean, I could put it this cool way: being a Reiki master, which I am, and I'm qualified to say it, Reiki is universal energy, and there's no place in the universe, so to speak, where Reiki isn't. um and then basically, if you understand that, you being alive, that means you're included in that the universal energy is always there forever, and then you're in that. And then if you understand that energy is by definition healing, which to me, I guess you could say, is proof of God. um but basically what I was going to say is that you being in that place of here-ness is allowing yourself to be, and notice that happiness doesn't always have isn't always based on, what that would be, cause and effect, I guess, or like it's like a based on something. Yeah, cause and effect.
Mhm.
you'll
Yeah.
you'll you'll notice that. And then in that, you can notice, because for example, not everyone's meant to be a famous person. Not everyone is meant to, and I'll just stick with that analogy. And in that, if you but what you're really after is available. And
It's
there's a
there.
this show is called Spiritual Education,
Mhm.
right? And in this show, it happens to be titled Realizing Your Divinity Within. And
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like, for example, if I was giving wisdom teachings to and being a master educator, it translates literally as applications, uh,
Mhm.
meaning that I'm giving you kind of like homework, so to speak.
Mhm.
Which I notice naturally happens with me. It's not something I have to think up or write down on a piece of paper. It just comes up.
Mhm.
Same with being logical and a philosopher. Logic comes up naturally. But so so what I mean by this, if I was teaching to, I think the right word is geriatrics, but older
Yeah.
elderly folk, and then if you're at a place where you're allowing yourself to be, so for example, say if the a single old man was listening to this, obviously no one else can hear it for him. We'll call him Lou, and he's sitting there and he's toyed with the idea younger in life that I should go into the army, and then he thought about it seriously for a month and he said I'm not going, and then basically he hopped on a train like Bob Dylan twice, and then he landed himself in a spot and found some friends and stayed there, and he lived out his life, and he read a few books. He even he made some pen pals in the army that he didn't go to, and was very, very open and honest with them throughout his life. And eventually he just noticed, I'm becoming old. Now he's an old man, and his name's Lou still. So now Lou is listening to this. I love you, Lou.
I love you too, Lou. It's not easy, believe me. I can get you. I feel you, man. I feel you, Lou. Oh, man.
So anyway, so my teaching to Lou would be obviously an appropriate one, because I know what comes along with being old. I'm not saying go do jumping jacks, go do the Tibetan rites and spin around 15 times and then do your best to not fall on your knees and stand there like this. Wouldn't be that. But what I mean by this is basically if he goes to the park bench, he's looking at the squirrels and he's allowing himself to be there, and he's just alive, but he knows that feelings come up that are painful, and he knows that for a fact, and sometimes, or we could say most of the time, it's just there, and it's just I'm just here. That's basically what's going on. Now in the wisdom teachings, I'm not afraid of really anything, but in particular of talking or dealing would be the right word with pain, right? So without commenting further on anything else, right? So me being in front of Lou sees me, and I catch Lou's attention. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then the application would be that. So I mean, basically it was, what was it with the geriatrics? Allowing yourself to surrender, practicing surrendering your life. And it has nothing to do with anything in particular, but that, right? So surrendering your life, and then what the example that I used before is, if you understand that actually is the thing that would be a relief for old people, because it's not any kind of physical activity, and it's also not limiting your physical activities that you have in your life. But what you're saying, what it would be, is that you're not going to be able to be physically active all day long, especially as an old person. And now what happens is, when you're noticing that you're at a place where you're stopped physically, what this gives you something to do, so to speak. And then you'll notice that even if someone is not interested in doing something so much as an old person, it's still going to be correct for them too, because it's a spiritual teaching. So then, because it's about the evolution of your soul.
Right.
So if you understand that, you surrendering your life, what I mean by that is, there's a part of your mind as an old person that you can, that's there, that you'll notice, that you notice is like the collection of something that you could call your past, right? So your life.
Yeah.
If you notice that it's something that's there, and then I guess you could say, if you're keen, you might have the recognition that it's not quite we could say guaranteed a pleasant thing, meaning you having that in there, right? It's almost kind of like an implant. And then you being at that place, now if you're hearing me, that's why I get elated when I get the attention, because I know that I know that I know who I am, and I know that if they listen to me, that they'll start benefiting from it. That's why I get so happy when I start to get the eyeballs thing, right?
Yeah.
The videos. But anyway, so if we the context of that before was about the here-ness. So if you accept that you as a divine soul, and in context of this, it's really for everybody, but we mentioned old people, but it's for everybody. You deserve to be happy and not suffer needlessly.
Yes.
Right? So you understand.
Yes. Preferably aging rather than older. Or old people.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, not for sure. What I mean is that's great because that's completely in alignment for you to say to assert your preference.
Yeah.
I prefer this word over this word.
Right. It
Completely.
just I don't know. I think aging is beautiful. The wisdom that comes through aging is incredible. And yeah, I'd love to be younger, but I'm going backwards. So I'll finally get to the same age as Joe at some point, and or else I'll have to come back and do it again. Anyway.
But yeah, so what I mean by this is, and I guess you could say this kind of. Let me finish the teaching. So the teaching on that one is, if we mentioned earlier, the here-ness, and then allowing the toy with the idea. You call it an imagination game or a visualization imagination game, where you imagine that you're happy without there being any reason for it. So in there, now what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to key in to something, and even we could say if it doesn't work, right? So if you sit on the bench, you go, okay, I heard the thing, I'm at the bench, and you do that for a little bit, and you say, well, I'm not really happy, but what the goal of that is to give you, to awaken something within you that needs to be awoken, is the whole point of that. And yes, and then basically, so you being in that place, the foundational understanding is that everyone deserves to be happy, which includes you. Everyone, includes you, deserves to be happy and not suffer needlessly, right? And then now you've got two guns to shoot, so to speak, as spiritual exercises as an old person, and they're obviously metaphorical guns, right? Unlike these. Okay, but that's how I'd be in front of old ladies. That
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Thanks. We love that.
Start teaching them, be like, yeah, what's up? Woo!
That's taking it back a little bit. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Woo! You're in a wheelchair, you need to go to the bathroom, let's go. I got you. Woo! That's why I'm showing off my arms.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's, it hurts a lot sometimes, but, that's what aging is sometimes, It's not an easy thing, but there's a lot of.
I'm interested in this. I'm going to stop talking now and I'll let go of my teaching thing. And I really do want to hear what you have to say about that, what you just started talking about, if you don't mind. Aging is difficult.
Aging is difficult. It's
sorry.
You have to learn to be slower. I know that I had this period of time where I fell down a lot and got my face messed up and everything, because I experienced vertigo for about 6 weeks, constant. And that doesn't have to do with aging. But we move slower. We make ourselves available to younger people who are looking for some answers that maybe we have. We stay as happy as we can. We enjoy sex. We're not that old. Come on.
Sex.
But just people in older bodies, God, and we know more. That's all you can do.
We know more is right, including in terms of sex. Actually, you know what? That's what we should do. I should get an old person on here, not even as a joke, but in all seriousness. In all seriousness, it would it would be basically if I had an old person on here.
If you did.
But if I had an old person on the show and I said, can you come on and tell me and literally educate me, the younger guy who can and probably will or still try to have sexual relations, educate me about it. As an old person, I feel like I would be, well, what I'm saying is, as me, as a 33-year-old who's hosting the podcast, who came up with the idea, obviously, I would be elated to have that person on and talk about it.
I'll talk about that with you sometime.
Yes. When we get around to, there's an uncle, a great uncle I used to have. His name is Uncle Dick, and he was my grandfather, my grandfather on my mother's side, his brother. So he was my great uncle. So my mother's dad's brother. So he was the uncle of my mother. So he was my great uncle.
I got it.
Dick Hastings. Richard Hastings. And he passed away within the past 10 years or so. And he had a place out in a place called Fillmore, New York. And I'm in Buffalo, New York, in Tonawanda right now. And he lived out there in Fillmore, New York. And Fillmore, New York is rural. And it's not, it's not like, down south you got rural. You pronounce it that way, we're rural. But they don't throw out words out there like that, rural. They're kind of soft spoken, but they're kind of, sandy uppy people, and there's not a lot of them because it's Fillmore. I mean, I don't know. It's like where are we gonna go drive the store? Yeah, 12-mile drive. Let's go Tops. All right, let's go.
Oh, another country heard from.
And it's a lovely area of the north and east. I don't know what realm. Northeast is a huge realm. Fillmore. But
I have no idea.
The reason I'm bringing that up, besides just laughing, obviously, but he had and old people. He obviously is an old person, and he was a wonderful old person, and he was a Pisces, and he was a veteran, and he was in the war, and he had a bar that he was near and dear to him until he lived out there in Fillmore by himself, and we call it Short Track. And he lived out there by himself. And I grew up when my parents grew up on that land. And when I was a child, I actually visited out there a bunch of times. And there's pictures of me, my 4-year-old self, standing there with my buzz cut. And everything.
I'd like to see that.
I'd love to show you that.
Send me that.
I might have to ask my mom. Hey, Mom. Give me all my pictures of a child.
I got mine up here. I have a picture of me when I was 2 up here because this is my altar for finding my inner child.
Yes. Oh.
And I love my inner child. She's lots of fun. Lots of fun. Laughter. I love laughter. I think everybody should laugh at some point during the day out loud. I'll be all into this stuff and studying and all this stuff, and I'll turn The Simpsons on so that I can get a little political laughter going on, because they are that. And I just crack a gut, I just sit there and laugh out loud. Feels good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But and I think that you're honestly a great example of an old person that's in alignment. And I don't just mean your spine, but I mean, yeah. But the thing about my Uncle Dick, my great uncle Dick, is he had his bar that he had out there, and he didn't stay out there because he started to deteriorate, and they had to take him into Buffalo and to put him in a group home and everything, and he started to lose his memory.
That's another thing old people worry about. Death, dying. Is somebody going to put me in a home? Am I going to have to live like, in a building with a bunch of people that I have nothing in common with? Those, ramble around, and I'm learning to just let go of that, because it's not going to make any difference anyway. So, but we think about stuff like that, I'm sure. And what dying's going to be like.
Sure.
Yeah, it comes up.
Well, he had in his bar that it was near and dear to him. He had what's called, when they made the bar, they put things on the wood that was bare wood on the counter of the bar, which was a gorgeous bar. Oh my God. And then there was things on the wood. And then he put one of them that was called I remember, what was it called? A round to it. It's just a circle. It was a circle like a coin, said round to it. And then the talking piece, and it'd say, when are you going to do that thing? When I get around to it.
That's perfect bar.
And then I get around to it. Guess what? It's stuck in the bar. Around to it.
I'm wondering if your uncle, was he happy when he died?
Wait, what?
Was he, at peace with dying? Come on, get serious here for a minute. I want to know, people go through a lot.
Yes. Wait, you said, what was it? The question was he serious?
No. Did he die well? Did he have good moments, or did he? You're too young to talk about shit like this. It's good to know, though. I mean, it's coming up at some point. Oh, I've got 8 minutes left on mine. I can plug it in, though.
Oh, on yours? Okay, sure. Yeah, no, we can end in 8 minutes. I'm still. I could go another half an hour if you wanted to. It's up to you. I mean, we're already at an hour and 23 minutes. Well, why don't we do 7 more minutes and call it an hour and a half?
Sure.
Because it's a long one. So I was gonna say, in context of, I guess, in the seriousness, I mean, of where we at, realizing your divinity within. So if you understand that this task, is for everybody. Task, yeah, is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And if you understand that in that way, then I guess you could say the real only enemy that would be present
is your mind.
No.
What?
Right now would be something in psychology/sociology called the bystander effect. So the bystander effect. So if you understand that, and it's kind of that realizing your divinity within your spiritual journey is always only yours, so that no one can do it for you. So and there's no possible way that the bystander effect can be valid, which proves that, I mean, we already know for a fact that the bystander effect is never a good thing, and now we have it where it's crippled. So if you understand that spirituality and growth are always connected inextricably forever, no matter what, meaning that just because you have an experience with someone who claimed to be a spiritual person that they abuse you does not mean that spirituality is wrong. It means that that person is an idiot.
I know, right?
That's all that means.
It doesn't take much to just be nice. Just accept people. Everybody's different. You don't know what load they're carrying. You don't know what happened to them today, or so have compassion and love. That's what it's, for me, that's what it's all about. I'm going to be going to some nursing homes to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. I'm hired to do that. So I'll go visit some people and see if they're being treated right. So that helps,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yes. That's actually, there's something that I'm looking for support on, which I advertised during my podcast. And I guess I should have done it in the beginning, but I wrote a book, the 4th book, available on Amazon.com. If you type in Joseph H. Vertino, my name down below, without the doctor part, Joseph H. Vertino, Amazon.com, you'll see me on one of the covers called the Reiki Bible. But the book I'm talking about now is called The Reform of the Education System. And it has an archangel on the cover, and it's red, I believe. And the name of the angel is Archangel Uriel, the archangel of literature, which is apropos, extremely appropriate. In context of the education system, because literature. And so that
needs change, that's for sure. I really can't wait to read that book. I mean, I haven't read it, but
my point of this is the same point, is that I am looking for people to join in the endeavor of the reform of the education system. But the thing is, for example, if you or any of these people, preferably adults, but basically above, really is for anybody. But basically, once I start getting help, then it starts snowballing, and it can be anybody. I don't want people to feel intimidated, because don't fall prey to the bystander effect. Oh, he's saying he needs help from anybody, but I'm going to wait until the principal of a school shows up and then helps him, and I'm not going to help right now. Don't do that. That's called the bystander effect.
Okay, I won't do it. I'll go right in there.
Hey, Joe H. Vertino on Facebook. I want to participate in the reform of the education system thing.
Oh, God, does it need it? Oh, my God.
So if you're interested, I'll give you my phone number. You want my phone number? 716-698-7214. 716-698-7214. And my Facebook is Joe, Joeh Vertino, Joe H. Vertino, on the bottom of the screen without the doctor, Joe H. Vertino. Facebook me, message me. I have a bunch of pages and groups. Okay.
Yeah, you do. You have a lot of opportunity for people.
What is it?
I said you have a lot of opportunity for people to learn things.
That's the thing, is I have a proper perspective, and I have a grip on life in general.
I've got 1 minute left.
Yes. All right. So let's finish up. And I have a foundational view. So go on Amazon.com, check out the reform of the education system. And I have a YouTube video on this channel called the Introduction to the Reform of the Education System. It's 18 minutes long. I have a blue collared shirt on. That's all of the information you need is in that video. Introduction to the Reform of the Education System. Same YouTube, Joe Vertino / Joseph Vertino. It's in there. 18 minutes. Find it.
I'm going to be gone. I have 1% remaining.
All right. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thank you to my friend Yeshe and me. Thank you. Please share this. Please watch this. Please.
I'm on Facebook too, Yeshe.
Yeah, Yeshe, my friend. And also you can message me too and connect with her that way too. So
Yeah.
so anyways, I want you to feel excited and energized, so to speak, unless you're going to bed. But also there's a choice. There's choices in there. We could say, if you're watching this, to share it, to message me about the endeavor of the reform, all of that stuff. So don't just click it off. Do a share, give a message, talk about it with somebody. All that's good stuff. And you have to. That's okay. You're recognizing the truth. Okay, and it's just truth. There's no other context in it. It's okay. It's because we're alive and we're in an experience of life as a being. All right, love you. Archangel Michael, bless your, what should say? What's a good one? Safe travels. Safe travels around the world. Cars, boats, planes. God bless it. Amen. All right, thank you, Yeshe, for tuning in. I think her battery died. All right, thank you so much, everybody. I usually play a music with my guitar at the end of this, which I could do, I guess. But she's on, so her battery's dead anyways. There, she went away. Here, let me grab my guitar. I'll play for like 3 minutes my guitar. She's a wonderful woman, isn't she? Water. All right, let's play guitar for a little bit. one. Hey lady, you got the love I need, and maybe more than enough. Oh darling, 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 walk a while with me. Oh, you got so much. Oh, you got so much. All right, thank you. Ciao. All right. End stream.